During the time of Lord Buddha, there lived a dacoit named Angulimala in the kingdom of Kosala, who had killed hundreds of people. How many people had he killed? He used to cut off the fingers of all of them and wear them in his garland, hence his name was Angulimala. He was very cruel and cruel. People were afraid to even go to that side in the forest where his area was. The king sent his army several times to capture him, but all failed. Buddha realized from his knowledge that somewhere in the mind of Angulimala there is a feeling of mercy and compassion. He just needs to be awakened. Thinking this, the Buddha went to that side, in the forest where Angulimala used to live. People forbade Buddha alive from going that way, but he did not stop. Angulimala, seeing Buddha coming toward him, ran with his sword. But Buddha continued at his natural pace. He shouted loudly, "Stay down!" The Buddha stopped. When Angulimala came to the Buddha, he said, "I have stayed, but when will you stay? You also stopped from sinning. That's why I have come here, that you too should follow the path of truth. Virtue has not died in you. If you give it a chance, your body will change." Lord Buddha told Angulimala that you should bring it by breaking the branch of the tree. Angulimala broke the branch of the tree and brought it to the Buddha. Buddha told him to add it now. Angulimala said, "How is this possible? I can't do this." Buddha said to Angulimala that when you cannot join something, it has no right to break you. Buddha was very quick in this point. On hearing this, Angulimala's hair stood up. Buddha's words had a very good effect on him. He got cold. He fell at the feet of Lord Buddha and started pleading for forgiveness. It was the first time anyone had spoken to him with such love. Angulimala said, "Forgive me and make me your follower. I'm ready to accept this discipline." He threw off the garland of his fingers and fell at the feet of Buddha. He became a monk at the same time, and after some time he also attained the rank of Arhat. He also followed the path of truth along with Buddha. One boy was very curious. Wherever he got to learn something new, he was always ready to learn it. He learned to make arrows from an arrow maker, learned to make a boat from a boat builder, learned to build a house from a house builder, and learned to make a flute from a flute maker. In this way, he became proficient in many arts, but arrogance came into him. He would tell his family and friends, "There is no one as talented as me in this whole world." Once Golden Buddha arrived in the city, when he heard about that boy's art and ego, he thought in his mind that this boy should be taught such an art, which is bigger than the arts learned till now. They went to him with a bowl of alms. The boy asked, "Who are you?" Buddha said, "I'm a man in control of my body." The boy asked him to explain his point. Then he said, "He who knows how to shoot arrows shoots arrows. He who knows how to sail a boat drives a boat. He who knows how to build a house builds a house. But he who is knowledgeable rules himself." The boy asked, "How is that?" Buddha replied, "If someone praises him, he does not become happy with pride. And even if someone condemns him, he remains calm, and such a person is always full of joy." The boy came to know that the greatest art is to control oneself. On a certain day, a man came to see Gautama the Buddha. Gautama was sitting alone in a small enclosure, and the man came with 2 handfuls of flowers because in India, that is a normal way to greet your guru. As the man came towards him, Gautama looked at him and said, "Drop it." When he said this, the man thought that because he had brought these flowers as an offering, Gautama was telling him to drop it. Then he thought, maybe it is inauspicious because I'm carrying it in my left hand. This is also a part of the culture that if you give something to someone with your left hand, it is considered inauspicious. So he dropped the flowers in his left hand and then went on in an appropriate way. Gautama looked at him once again and said, "Drop it." Now he did not know what to do. What was wrong with the flowers? He dropped the rest of the flowers. Then Gautama said, I said drop it, not the flowers. The one who brought the flowers, you have to drop that. Otherwise you will not know the Buddha. You will come, you will bow down, you will listen and you will go. But you will not know what it means to be with an enlightened one. You will completely miss the possibility. If you want to add a completely new dimension to your life, you have to drop that, not something else. Dropping your work, family, or this and that does not mean anything. Right now, what you call as myself is just a bundle of thoughts, emotions, ideas, opinions, and belief systems. If you do not drop that, where is a new possibility? Are you just trying to decorate the old stuff with some extras? That is not going to help. That is going to make things more difficult. But if you just say drop it, it does not drop off. So there are methods and procedures to be brought in so that this dropping happens. On a particular day, Gautama came and sat on the dais. Hundreds of disciples were waiting for him to speak. There was one person in this group who was known as Mad Kashyap. The rest of the community there had decided that he was crazy because he never comes and listens to Gautama Buddha's talks. He never meditates or does anything. He simply sits under a tree like a fool. He is not a smart spiritual man. He simply sits there. Everyone had just given him up as a fool to whom you cannot teach anything. On this day, Gautama came and sat. He had a flower in his hand. He just went on looking at the flower. People were waiting for him to speak. But he was so engrossed in the flower that he never said a word. Minutes went into hours, but he was simply looking at the flower. He never bothered to speak. Suddenly Mad Kashyap broke into laughter. He laughed uproariously. Then Gautama looked at Mad Kashyap and the rest of the crowd and said, "What I can give in words, I have given you. What I cannot give in words, I have given it to Mad Kashyap." That was the beginning of Zen. There is no science, teaching, scripture, method, or practice. You simply sit and wait. When it happens to you. Zen is a crazy way, but a very wonderful way because there is absolutely no bondage anywhere. But if Zen has to happen, there has to be a Mad Kashyap. There has to be someone who is in that level of perception. Otherwise, it does not happen. What happened between Buddha and Mad Kashyap is the first recorded moment of Zen in the world. It could have happened so many times before, but it did not become a spiritual path as such.